Father God, we turn to you this morning. We thank you for the blessings of life, and we just pray today that you would grant us wisdom, that we could make decisions, rightfully so, for the county and those of our constituents. Pray for those that protect our country, those that wear a badge, keep us safe. We pray for them and pray that I'll watch over them. So direct us further on this day. We pray in Christ's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item, minutes. Everybody received those? Questions, comments? None. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Payroll number 21 for calendar year 2015 totals $197,071.98. We had a total of 179 claims, totaling $198,579.54. Monty, you are up.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have 80 inmates and 7 are DOC. That's all I have this morning.
Any chance of getting any more DOCs?
Well, all our DOC are generated from our own courts.
Okay.
They don't bring anybody to us.
Okay.
So
Those days are gone. Yeah.
For a while.
Okay.
I think someday it might turn around, but for right now, they're actually pulling them out faster than they've ever had.
Good. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Ed and Toby. I guess Ed for now.
Thanks, Ed. Bring my truck sometime. Are you going to bring that on or not?
Yeah.
It doesn't. I'm in no hurry.
Okay, what's in? I'm doing the prep on some other stuff. You got Bridge Conference this week?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday?
I won't be here Thursday and Friday.
You will not? Want to shoot for the next week?
That's fine.
Okay. Just whatever you can bring up. And
Okay.
you still got the trade, right?
Yeah. We're still using it.
That's fine. We'll work something out next week.
Okay. Just an update on the hot mix projects. They did get them done. They did them the 5th through the 7th. Really did a good job. Well satisfied with milestone. Their actual estimate was 81.9. After they did it with the hot mix and all that stuff, it came in at 77,107.49. So it was actually 47,92.51 less than their bid. So which was a good thing. I was sort of surprised when they told me that it came in less. So. Center line, they do have all the center line done. Three Rivers Barricades doing that. He couldn't really give me a time when they were going to do the railroad crossings and the arrows, but he says they definitely will get them done. They have several counties to do, so they have several of them to do. So he'll keep me posted on that. Just an update on the roadside mowing. Show you there, those townships we had done. If you see half of Chester, when the guy mows, he mows his Liberty and half of Chester, and then he moves over in Jackson and does the other half in Jackson. That's why I have half and half there. But that's coming along pretty good. With the freeze over the weekend, hopefully that stuff won't grow back up, so we should be okay there. So that's going pretty good. So just an update on the pipe projects. We did get 2 more put in, the one on 750 East and the one down on the River Road off of 300 West. Still have 4 more of them to do in Jackson Township. I'm probably going to have Rick Ramser do them, talk to him a little bit this morning. Hoping to pick up some of them again next week. So probably a good 4 days to get all that stuff done. I still got some backhoe projects to do. So a lot of stuff to do in the next 2 or 3 weeks as far as getting all this stuff done. I'm sort of jumping on Toby's bandwagon here, but we did have the contractor start last week hauling the concrete up to the bridges up there in Union Township. We started on Wednesday afternoon, They worked Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, Friday. We do have 7 of them done. We still have 3 more to do. Not sure when we're going to do that. We're not doing it this week because we're doing the box project on 300 West. So
Say that's coming up.
yeah. So we'll get with him, and hopefully he can finish them in one day. But we'll see. That's went fairly well, I think, and stuff like that. So next thing I have, and this is sort of a Roy question, but Norfolk and Southern, 2 or 3 months ago at the railroad crossings where we have stop signs, they came in and put up their own stop signs and crossbucks. And they put them beyond our stop signs is where they put them. Well, then last week when my sign man was out, our stop signs came up missing. I assume they took them down.
Nice to have them back.
So you don't have them at all.
They didn't even tell me they were doing it. But I didn't know liability-wise.
Just the signs or the post and the sign?
All of our sign and posters are gone, and the fear that I have is some of theirs are out a little ways to where they're not really where they should be, according to the sign manual. We have 7 crossings that have stop signs out yet. But when they went up, I know me and Toby discussed that a little bit, and we thought, well, it's not that big a concern if there's. But then whenever they pulled ours and didn't say a word, and so I guess I'm looking for guidance of.
Well, I think if you have some regulations with respect to how far from the railroad the stop signs are supposed to be placed,
Okay.
they need to be placed within that. But I would check with them and say, where's our posts and signs?
Okay.
And what's the authority for placing and where you place them?
Okay. Yeah, because my concern is some of them are out quite a ways that you could miss them.
Probably 3 foot out
Sideways?
further.
Yeah, or like ours, as you're going up the road,
Not
our stop sign
not
would be
closer to the
here,
track.
and then theirs was
Further.
right beside, but some of them are out there 5-6 foot. So they're
Not in the line of vision.
no.
It's in the line of vision, but it's further out where
People aren't used to looking that far over.
Right.
Do you have a contact?
I have a
Person?
couple. Yeah, there's a couple foremans I usually deal with when I have issues with the railroad. So
Why
I
don't
will
you
call
get a
them.
hold of them, see if you can get a hold of them today or tomorrow and give us an email back and let us know what you find out.
Okay, I can do that.
Roy, do you have, who's taking over in your absence? Anybody?
I can always ask Trent to do whatever.
If we
needs to be done.
had a concern.
Okay.
And he knows that.
Okay.
I'll make contact with them and say, one, we'd like to have our signs back, but legally I didn't know if they could actually do that. Can they just pull them?
I don't know that they've got authority to do that. That's what I'd say.
is that the railroad
What's
right
your-
away at that point?
Oh, yeah.
It's in, they do whatever they want.
Oh, yeah, well, I know that.
We all know that.
Ask for forgiveness and just
Been there a few times.
Just as long as it didn't block the intersection too long when they were moving the signs, maybe.
Yeah. So-
dispatch a patrol car or something,
Okay, I will talk to the foreman and get some feedback from him and ask him where our signs and posts are at. And he might not know. He might not have done it. Might have been somebody else that came through and did it.
Find out.
So, okay. Next thing I have, I got a quote for a cab chassis to replace my mechanic's truck, and then I'm in the process of getting a quote or quotes to do a utility bed on it. Got them from the 3 dealers here in town. There's the actual prices. This is going to be a 1-ton because of the weight and stuff that we carry in the back of that with tools and grader tires and all that stuff. Like I say, this is just a cabin chassis, and I'll bring a quote back for the utility bed in the future. Heidi Chrysler was low, so my recommendation is to go with them. They met the specs and stuff on that. So,
On a Dodge.
oh, Dodge.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
My goal is to pay the chassis out of this year's budget and probably the utility bed out of next year's budget and stuff. So, just some other stuff we're doing. We're still patching, working in Chester. Still have to run the roads in Nottingham. probably another 2 to 3 weeks on that. Hopefully 2 weeks, but could be in 3 weeks to try to get everything patched up. We'll probably end up, usually at the end, when we have some oil left, we do what I call bar patching, where we just do like a 3-foot bar and we spray and then we just cover it with stone with the trucks and stuff like that. Probably work on some of the roads down by the dairy in Nottingham Township, because there's some areas down there we'll try to get patched in before winter time and stuff. So, like I say, still have some backhoe notes of mine to do yet too. Probably a good week yet, and a lot of them are down in Jackson too, where we're going to do them big pipes. So that's all I have.
What we have going on this week.
You brought in this on the Medicom, that pipe,
The agreement or the
from like 2000.
Mhm.
You said you had this, and then there was a big.
there was a map with it.
Could you? And there's no indication on the map who did the work.
I don't think so, but I can look.
Would you
Roy.
mind dropping that off in my office so I could take a look? It
Yep.
just has to do with Mediacom wanting to know what contractor might have done that, so they can add him to the party. He said, fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can get it to you.
Sorry.
That's fine. Okay.
We started doing some bridge foundation work. There's 3 structures, Bridge 150, 92, and 68. 150 is up on County Road 500 West, which is over the Flat Creek. It'll be closed today, and I'm anticipating no more than a week. Hoosier Pride is doing that, and basically, for memory, some of the H piles are exposed, and we're going to put like a little knee wall, as I call it, around some of the piling, just to keep it encapsulated so weather can't deteriorate the steel. Usually there's a 24-inch diameter concrete that kind of seals them up, kind of keeps them from rusting. So we're going to be starting that today. And so for the next 3 weeks, the last one they're going to be doing would be 68, which is on Meridian Road. Over the Neff ditch, we're going to be replacing the approach slab, the south one, on that one. So that might take a little bit longer, but hopefully all the grain and all the farmers will be kind of done. So I'm kind of push that one to the last one. I know it's going to be an inconvenience, but it has to be done. Union structure 454. It is a concrete box that we're going to be setting this week. It's on County Road 300 West, just south of 900 North. It is a 15 by 10 inside diameter, so that road is closed just south of 900. So that should take about this week to be done as well. I had talked about the bridges that we're using the concrete log jam. They're on Bridge 54. That's on County Road 600 West. Probably be next week before we get to that.
This week.
Oh, this week, my fault.
Possibly Wednesday or Thursday he'll be down there. Thanks.
And we've talked, and this is the same location where we have to establish some gates, for coming in and out of, and post every so many feet on centers, just so contractor knows to stay within the right of way. It's been staked out, so everything should be a go. I've let Jeff Harding know that we're going to be out there without having some of these things in place, but we will put back what we destroy. So, if the gates aren't up by the time we're done, we will establish the fence, keep everything locked for him. So, I haven't heard back from him yet.
Yeah, just an update on that. We did get the markings on the south side of the river done. Me and Toby sort of talked about this. Instead of using fence posts, we opted to use our plastic yellow delineators. That way, if there's trash from the river that comes down there, it's going to push them down and they'll come back up. Our concern was with the fence posts that once they're down, they're down.
Yeah.
So we got the south side done. The north side, we have to wait for some leaves to come off and stuff like that so we can sort of string through an area and get them put up. We've got some of them on the north side by the stakes that the surveyor put up. And then on the gates, I've got posts ordered Having that actually fabricated metal post. They should be in sometime this week. And the gates I'm just going to get over at Rural King at Decatur. So hopefully while we're down there doing pipe projects and all that stuff, we can get the gates put up, have them done. So that's coming. But
Good. Thank you.
Timing wise. Also, I just got today from the state of Indiana. He has a 12-page agreement for the LED stop signs on 218 and County Road 300 West. So I'm going to forward that on to you, Roy, for your convenience. So it doesn't have to be signed today, but I just want to look at it. It seems to be in good order. As you remember, there's lights up there on 124 and State Road 116. So this will be an agreement for all three locations because each other location had its own separate agreement. So we're kind of bringing this under one. So it looks pretty straightforward. But I saw one thing on there about payment and stuff like that I thought was kind of funny. I'll make note of it and send it to you. The last thing I have is the road conversion agreement on County Road 700 West. I don't know if you want to sign these right now during the, if you agree to sign them, if you want to wait until after the meeting's over, so it just doesn't take so much time to do it. That'd be great. Here's all the documents. I can always come back and pick them up, and I think Roy has got one from the gal down south.
Marion Sinclair.
Marion, thank you. And there's just one signed document. The Frigers and the other property owners have the other signed document. So I think they would like a copy of the signed document once we get it.
You want to make a motion now, or we'll just do it at the end? We even need a motion for this?
Yeah, I think you need to accept that because those are right-of-way grants. So the last page tells you what you're supposed to do. You're accepting
The grants, yes.
That's what we've done about, 12 years ago?
do what?
We did these right-of-ways?
Yeah. I don't think they were ever recorded, though.
No.
No,
No, we just signed.
Started it and never.
So we're not going to get started until everything has been recorded and things like that.
So what do you have?
Motion to have the
You got
easement-
3
easement
right-of-way
agreement.
agreements and 1 chip and seal contract?
No, just two sides. Here's the chip and seal. Yeah, 3 including Sinclair's. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So say that again, Roy.
So, make a motion to accept 3 easement agreements?
Accept the easement agreements and the chip and seal agreement.
Okay, so as 2 motions or a single motion?
One motion.
I think you single motion. Fine.
Make a motion to accept the easement agreements times 3 and the chip and seal agreement as presented this morning
For 700 West.
for 700 West project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
So if you want to sign those after the meeting, I think that would be great.
Okay.
Todd was gracious and expedient. What I have now in front of you, the chip and seal policy on County Road 1200 South. That went through the gambit of approval. Todd's looked at it, and he's basically signed off. We've got the chip and seal policy here in this envelope. The J County property that we are going to be acquiring land off of them for the easement, and we have the Wells County side easement signatures.
So we're going to do that today?
So, this is ready. You had no.
I prepared.
Right.
Yep, he's prepared them.
So I'll need a motion to accept.
And there's no changes.
I would like to ask about, extending that. But I don't know if now's the time.
This is a separate deal for what you had sent us on Saturday. So we need to accept this first,
Okay.
and
Unless something else is a precondition to the offer of the easements.
Right.
I mean,
Well, yeah, some of the easements you asked for were beyond the half mile, and that's
no,
one
the
reason.
property is beyond a half mile, but the easement area is the west, whatever feet Toby told me of that. If you look at those documents, it's an easement over those properties, but the easement area is defined as, what is it, 30 feet either side? or-
One of the easements that was signed was for Rick Feature on the Jay County side, which the property starts beyond the 2640.
Then it would be no harm, no foul, because there would be no easement area if it was beyond that.
right.
Okay.
We're just not gonna. If
I
it's
just
not
wasn't sure
needed,
when that was
we're-
asked.
yeah.
Yeah, you designed it by footages.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But I understand where you're coming from. We're just not going to go out there and, if we don't have to build a ditch that far out, we're not going to do it. We're going to blend it back in and keep everything the same.
Okay.
Does that make? I mean,
Yeah, I just wasn't. Maybe it was just a miss. I wasn't sure why that property was asked for.
Yeah.
But
That property was asked for because I was given that deed.
okay.
it was probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. But I mean, as far as extending that for a full mile, I mean, is the county interested in working with us on that?
How many feet are we doing right now?
Half a mile.
We're doing
Half
half.
mile.
2,640.
I looked at it, Todd, and there's no residence or no buildings on that existing balance of the that half mile
In Wells County.
in Wells County, correct. And due to the fact that by law, Wells County is responsible for, the south and the east, so we can't go to Jay County and ask them if they want to participate.
Right.
I mean, well,
We can.
we could,
But will they
Yeah.
be willing partners?
right. So
Yeah.
Wells is responsible to the south and east, and but that's just by code. And I just would rather not venture down there at this point. But that's my opinion, and I'll.
One comment I had to make is, you're working on 700 South, and our tax base per plotted acre is about 3 times the amount of what theirs is on 700 South, and our personal property is considerably higher also. And like I said, we do farm 900 acres that goes directly into our livestock operation off that border 1200 South, and several hundred more east that flow through that flow through 1200 South.
Let's put it this way, Todd. If we vote on it today, you're going to get a no vote.
Okay.
If you want to prepare a little more information and explain that maybe better to us, we can certainly look at it and consider it
Okay. Well,
further.
Does it make you a difference if we sign the first half mile today, or
That's up to you. Are you saying that you wouldn't want to do the first half mile if we don't do the second half mile? Then that's your choice. You don't have to sign them today. We don't have to do that
Right.
today.
Okay.
But I'm saying what would be more attractive to you if I'm not sure at this point.
Don't offer an easement if you're not offering it. If there's preconditions to that.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, if the deal is
Well,
as
I'm willing to sign it today. So,
And no, I'm not sure that it does make a difference, to be perfectly honest.
Sure.
It's what you want, and we're willing to do that because that's what you want at this point. I don't think it's going to bait us into doing more later.
Sure.
Fair.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to accept this from Todd on the half mile that he's requested.
2 easements and the chip
Yes.
seal. Okay.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0 for this agreement. So, any other questions in regard to this?
no, I don't think so.
Okay. We'll sign these at the end.
Because I'll be seeing you today at 45.
Yeah, I just
They're in
haven't
the file.
missed call from Jeff, so I'm not sure what that's about. So.
Yeah, do you want a copy of all that for your files? Okay. Do you, once those are signed, do you want me to take those to the recorder and get those recorded?
It doesn't matter. I mean, Beth can give it to the recorder.
Okay, I just want to make sure that it doesn't get dropped. I just want to make sure that who's going to do it. If you want me to do it, I will.
If you want to do it, fine.
Just let me know if you want me to or you're doing it. I don't care.
Somebody will leave with them. I got this affidavit. It's nothing that the commissioners need to sign, but it's part of
that.
All right. So,
Okay. The same thing with his as that.
And
Okay.
I might make
I'll
one more
let you
quick
do it
comment.
since you have been familiar with all the documents and I haven't.
Right. I was going to make note of that just so, not that I don't trust.
No,
I
I would
just-
prefer that you would if that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here's the.
It's kind of like new information is coming up that.
Are you done?
Anything else?
I just have one other thing to add, and I talked to Beth about this a little bit the other day, but with the projects we have going yet, the one on 300 West, the 3 that Toby's doing, the log jam down there, we're probably going to need some more seeded money because there won't be enough money to do all that. Didn't know if you just wanted to let me do a transfer or the commissioners want to do a transfer. Is that what we talked about? Within the seeded funds, or whether you want me to try to do additional appropriation. There's money in there to transfer if we need to.
For additional appropriation?
We could
No, we can just transfer.
Request additional.
We can just
When do you
transfer.
think you'll have some better numbers so we'll know what we're talking about?
By the end of this week.
Yeah, I would say probably by the end of the week. I'm guessing, if I just a rough number, probably 130,000. How much were your 3 bridges? Aren't they about 120 something?
123,000.
Yeah. So I would say about 130,000
Well, advertise it.
to do the 3. We should have enough left in seed it now to do the 300 West project. There's like.
So were we short last year, and this is going to kind of balance out the 2 years? Is that off the top of your head? Does that sound
I
like
don't
that?
remember.
I was thinking that last year we didn't meet it, and this year
Yeah, but we encumbered it.
Oh, you did.
Did we encumber that this year?
We encumbered
Because we
for the hot mix. We encumbered like 41,000
Yeah.
from last year to this year because we
We
didn't do
didn't
that.
encumber anything from the. No, I don't think we did. I think it was just local road and street. I think we did just. I could do some checking.
Yeah.
138.
Just to let you know, like I say, that we're going to need funds to do the stuff we have to do yet.
I'll bring it
I'll
up
check
at
that out.
November meeting.
Yeah, okay.
That's okay.
That's
And
what.
we will have to do the average. We will have to do it at the November 1st
We
meeting.
have to
Decide
need it,
so
right.
we have
Right.
time because
Okay.
we've only got one more additional to do for the year.
Gotcha. Right.
But like I say, I think there's a place that me and Beth talked about. We can just transfer within the seeded funds if you want to just do a transfer.
Right.
And then we could wait and see what our actual number would be after we get all the invoices in. So,
No, transfers can be done all the way up to the end of the year, but if we're doing an additional appropriation, we have to do it.
all right.
First meeting.
Just something to think about.
Okay.
Like I say, because I thought we need to let you know that we're going to need money to finish these projects.
They need to be done.
Yeah.
Make people happy to do it.
I'll check to see what we had left over the last 2 to 3 years on this because our agreement's coming to an end.
Right.
What we didn't spend over the last 3 years of the agreement that we have.
Where it would transfer from.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
Next up, Tim.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
How you doing today?
Good.
I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing good.
Good.
All right. To start off with, here, if you remember, a few months ago, I came to you and told you that we had some money left over from the Linder Oil project. And if you remember, that was a partnership that the Commissioners, the town of Ossian, Linder Oil, and Norfolk and Southern all participated in, where we put a new spur off the main line there to service that industrial park area behind Linder Oil. We ended up having about $2,500 extra in that account. I put a few allowances in that budget. One would be if we would have constructed, or if we had to tear up farmed ground, to an allowance for that.
I think part of one of the allowances I also had in there was for the surveying cost, and those came a little bit lower than what I budgeted. And there was one or two other just minor adjustments from my budget to what the actual costs were. And we finished that project. It's looking great and everything. We're all happy and what have you. But there was, as I said, about $2,500 left in that account from what I asked you. And I came to you here a couple months ago and asked you, what should I do? And you said, hold on to it for now, but come to us if you have a need for it. And so that's what I'm here today. One of the things that we are doing is getting the property behind Linder Oil. It's at 120 acres that would be owned by Ted Martz. We're getting that shovel-ready certified, which is a process you go through the state of Indiana, through the Office of Community and Rural Affairs, where basically it certifies that this property is ready to go. Doesn't necessarily mean that it is truly, you can move in there immediately and start digging, but what it does is it goes through a lot of those first level searches that you need to look at, and one of those is wetlands. You actually perform a full wetland delineation on the property. I contracted with a firm sometime in April to perform that. And if you remember, we had an extremely wet spring and early summer. And I think rule number one in doing wetland delineations is don't do a wetland delineation when you've got the most water ever in your county's history. And so this delineation ended up finding a lot of little, pockets throughout the park. The three things you look for in wetlands is you get the soil type, and it's always going to be the right kind of soil. The presence of water or the indicators that water is there on a pretty regular basis. And then the third is the plants themselves. Usually in a farm situation, your farm plants, pop up and then they overtake the wetland plants and they are your primary vegetation for that area. Well, when you have low areas and lots of water, the soybeans in this case didn't pop up, and so there was more what I call water grass than soybeans. That was an indicator that it is then a wetland, and it by definition qualifies. So had a discussion with this Davie Environmental Group, who's the ones that did the wetland delineation. They've worked for us before. And we decided that it would be better to do a redelineation, to basically go back out to the site sometime, and we did it in August, to look there and say, okay, what is it, what's it like now? And it's more reflective of real life. I mean, in that spot, there's still a couple patches way in the back, and there's always going to be. Those are always, no argument as far as wetlands and those, but all the little pockets up in the front, 7/8 of that property, those were all taken out as part of this redelineation. So we performed the new delineation. We're now in the process of submitting that to the Corps of Engineers and going through the whole process. But that ended up costing us about $2,000 additional. And so I felt that was a good use of that money. The only other option we could have is basically to step back and do it again next year. And it would have ended up costing us more because, then you would have to do the whole new delineation and everything. This way, it can be just a continuation of the first steps that they were already paid for. So hopefully, it's okay that I used some of those excess funds to go ahead and get that done, because that is one of the things that we need to do on that property is get it shovel-ready certified. And I felt that was a good use of money. So, any questions or anything?
So you just took what was remained of Linder and applied it towards
that, yeah.
I don't have any problems with that.
Okay, good. That's a good use of money. I mean, it really is. And I thought in this latest delineation really is a more truer representation of what is actually out there. I mean, like I said, there are some in the back part that are wetlands, and we'll treat those as you would any other wetlands. So that's going forward, and continue to work on getting the shovel-ready certification on that. Just some updates on some projects. We did receive that $43,000 from the USDA for the 11 county food network study. We're actually having a kickoff here next week, and so it's going to be about a year-long study of looking at the whole food network for Northeast Indiana and how this Food Innovation Center really fits into that overall 11 county scheme. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be working on here over the next 12 months. Making sure that we're building the foundation and justifying ultimately, should we be building a food innovation center here in Wells County, or what does it look like? What is the need? What is the market demand? The USDA made it very clear. Let's go through this study first, and then let's go back to them to fund possible construction and what have you. So we're starting that project here next week. It'll be about a year-long study. Looking forward to moving forward on that. That's going to be pretty exciting stuff. Some of the other things that we've got going on here in the county, the TIF district with adjacent industrial park, that's about halfway down there on the upper right-hand corner. The Bluffton City Council is the next step. We've gone through Bluffton redevelopment. Now we've got the Bluffton City Council that has to bless it. And then there's a couple more steps. Hopefully here by November sometime, we'll have that taken care of. And so we'll be able to utilize, as I think we've talked about, utilizing those funds for the possible reconstruction of Harvest Road. And so there's a process we have to go through. So we're working through all those various steps to get that taken care of. We are continuing to work on the south campus of the hospital, the property there at Spring and State Road 1. We are in the middle of a livability study for that region. It's one of the requirements if we use a funding mechanism called New Market Tax Credits. A livability study is basically looking at what is needed for that area. And if you're going to use new market tax credits, you got to go through that. So we're going through that portion, and we should wrap that study up here probably in November sometime. And so I'd say sometime in the next 6 months or so, hopefully we're going to be able to solidify, what actually is going to happen with that building, and ultimately get her sold, which will be nice because it is a good solid building, but it is a former hospital, so it has some inherent limitations, I guess, to it. And something I just wanted to point out there at the bottom of the list there. At some point in time, we'll have an open house, but when you hear about it, go out to Bluffton High School and see this new welding lab that's been put in. We, through this Adams Wells Manufacturing Alliance, through the Economic Development Directors, through the school systems, we've installed 2 new welding labs, one at Belmont High School and one at Bluffton High School, and they are state-of-the-art, and they are super cool. And this is industry participation, school participation, Area 18 through some Perkins grants and things like that. I mean, just a cool partnership that was developed to install these welding labs. And so if you get an invite, and I'm sure you will, to an open house out there at the high school for the new welding lab, definitely make if you can, make time to get out there, because this is an amazing story of how industry and educators and government and what have you are all coming together to solve the workforce development issue. One part of the workforce development issue. So a very cool story. Some pretty neat toys out there to play with, that's for sure. So, and it's a necessity. There's a huge need for welders in Wells County as well as the surrounding counties. And so I just think it was a neat story that, having them all to come together. In my report, one of the things I've added that you'll see here is down that lower right-hand corner in the green, unfilled jobs. I'm reporting to you what your workforce is and what the workforce is here in Wells County of, a little over 14,000. An unemployment rate of 3.5% where we are right now puts us about 500 people that still aren't working in Wells County. Well, if you go to Indiana Career Connect right now, you're probably going to find somewhere between 200 and, like this says, 280 unfilled jobs in Wells County. And so I just think that's an important number to know, that we do have people that aren't working, but we have open jobs in Wells County at this point in time. It's an amazing number if you look at the 11 counties in Northeast Indiana of how many unfilled jobs there are. So, I always ask myself, what can we do to reach those 500 people that are drawing unemployment? Well, there are jobs out there for a percentage of them at least. There's no doubt about that. So that's just one of the things that I've added. So a lot of good things going on right now in Wells County. And just wanted to give you a quick update. Any questions for me? Or all right. Hopefully here by the end of this month, we'll be hearing something on the building, on the spec building. So it's going through some corporate, paperwork processes right now. So hopefully we'll have that taken care of here fairly soon.
Okay.
So that'll be great news. So thank you all very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Tim. Tim.
Good morning again. This is just the plan design for Wells County, and that's his expenses. This is Tim Miller from Med Partners. He's met all of you except for Tammy. That's Tammy.
Nice to meet you.
We just have a couple changes we would like to discuss with you for this year's plan and hopefully get your approval.
With the opening of the new ReadyMed up north, the business health and the urgent care merged together, and so we're not going to be able to offer the employees to go to the clinic to go through there because of volume issues. So we set up 2 days, November 17th and 24th, where they'll come here to the annex, and they'll get the blood work done here in the biometrics. We have also switched from the venipuncture. We won't have to draw the blood out of the vein. We'll just do the finger stick and do the triglycerides and the glucose, and we're not going to be testing for cotinine this year. So we'll be focusing more on the sugar and the pre-diabetes risk and things this year. So those are the primary changes, I think.
Mm-hmm. And the reason that we are suggesting the change from the tobacco, that price increased this year, and if we switched it to glucose from tobacco, then we could go to the finger stick, which I think employees will be really, really happy with.
Hey, I watched somebody get worked over for about an hour and a half and
Yes.
never found a vein.
Yes, we have a lot of people who have
So,
real
yeah.
anxiety over that blood draw. So,
I had 3 efforts, and then they ended up taking it from my hand. I never had that done.
Do you have any problems with that, Doctor? Good.
so this is the updated plan for Wells County if we go forward with that.
I guess my only question is the 112 number on the sugar. I mean, is that, how did that number come to be? I guess that's my only
I'd say that's
question.
pretty generous. If it's fasting, I presume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's actually pretty generous.
Generally, it's usually around a 100 range, so they bumped it a little bit.
Given about a 10% margin, so that was my only question.
And we'll be able to aggregately look at the numbers, and of course, anybody that's significantly out of range will be contacted by our staff and advised what they can do or who they should go see from there.
I don't have any issues with the changes.
Doctor, any questions?
So when you pick those adjusted goals and you set them higher than the national goals, does that mean we're paying more in general to use those higher goals? I mean, is there like adjustment up of everybody's baseline cost to cover that? How's that work?
We can adjust those to anything that we would like to have them.
I
We've
know,
made
but what
them.
does that do to the cost is what I'm saying. I mean, if we could say any blood sugar less than 200 is okay, but we
Right.
know that's diabetes. So I'm saying, what are you doing about that? How's that work?
Are we paying for the additional raising of the levels? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Our employees, if we would lower those, then a lot of our employees wouldn't earn those 4 points and they would pay more.
Right.
We don't pay him any differently for
But
that.
if the employees pay more, some employees pay more, does that mean other employees get to pay less? How is the risk stratified is what I'm asking. Do you know?
Your statement is correct. I mean, if your goals are high, if you allow a larger threshold, then more people are going to apply or are going to be approved for the credit. So if you make it tighter, then they're going to pay more, and they're not going to get the premium credit. Is that how you do here? So I mean, it's an individual discussion that happens within each organization. It's
And who's having that discussion.
We're having it right now.
So if I
Then
interject
I don't have
here,
any information.
so if we shrink it down,
Right.
we pay less, and we knock everybody off our policy for the most part, because for the most part, Wells County employees, because of our base in terms of age group, am I incorrect stating this? I mean, we're older, we have more health issues, which causes us to rise, more costs. But the fact that if we shrink that down, then some people might have trouble. These are credits to premiums, correct? Okay. And so basically what the employee receives is a credit to their premium, so they'll pay less in premium, which the county would pick up if they get the credit. So you would save a little bit on premium because you're not giving them the credit, because they're not meeting the goal if you lower it to 100.
But are we?
I mean, from when I was in Michigan City with the conference, I was with, I think it was Scott County, but I'm not positive. And I explained what we do, Their incentive is to get as many points as possible out of the system. And they had nothing like this even in their county, even started. Instead, kind of like, I wish we would have.
I mean, because we want our people to be healthier, so we
Right.
want to have reasonable. And I'm not saying these are unreasonable. Well, the cholesterol is kind of unreasonable, but
I think the weight's unreasonable. But that's me.
you think it's too generous or too tight?
I think it's too tight.
I think the cholesterol is too generous.
We have a base premium generally, and then you work your credits to lower that for your personally to each individual that's on the plan.
If they earn all 4 points, the premium stays the same.
Got it.
If they only get 3, then it goes up.
And so that's their incentive.
Correct.
They have to pay more on the
So
premium.
let's approve it this year, but I think I'd like to investigate this further next year before we have it presented for a vote.
Okay. That's two. All in favor?
All right.
Who made the motion?
Kevin made the motion.
Oh, yeah.
I heard it.
Did you bring?
I just got to keep my BMI down.
Did you bring your copy?
I've tried. It doesn't work for everybody.
I'm going to get over that.
Once I understood that their work is only in that 3-month window.
I think I did. Oh, yeah. I'm going to fast for like 6 weeks.
Make the BMI.
Get my BMI down.
When's the test?
Amend the emotion that I can sign the agreement.
So moved.
Oh, no, there is, but just not line. So. I'll line there for you.
My only question is, as we age, our blood pressure tends to go up, correct? Yeah, well then what the heck? 120 over 80? I did that when I was like an athlete once.
Right about it.
You don't have a line.
Can we go ahead and date it today? Sure. That's right. 19, right?
What were the
Yes.
dates? 17th and 24th?
And with the finger stick, you can do how many every 5 minutes?
I think 4 every 5 minutes.
4 every 5 minutes.
We'll be doing no time flat.
Thank you. Thanks, Tim.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Right?
Beth, other business.
People get nervous when they
Pardon me?
Other business.
Okay, to me?
always does.
Okay, again, this year, we're asking the commissioners to approve our company Thanksgiving dinner that we always have held in the past on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So it'll be Wednesday, November the 25th. And we do that out at the 4-H building, and we would close the courthouse and annex from 12 to 2 at that time to have our dinner. And also, as we've done in the past, we was wondering if you want to also do the Christmas party that we have done every year by closing the Wednesday, or the day before Christmas Eve, which will be Wednesday, December the 23rd, closing at 2 for the courthouse and the annex to have our Christmas party.
We're going to have that in the courthouse again?
At the courthouse, yes. Just like we've done in the past. We'll do the carry-in at the courthouse for the Christmas, and then our Thanksgiving dinner. We will provide that. Usually the auditor's office takes that in charge for the dinner. And I'm sure we'll probably do the same thing we've done in last year's.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve of that.
All in favor? Aye. 3-0. November 25th. November 23rd.
In school, we'll have some more. Darn right.
Okay, the other thing, as we was doing the calendar for November, we noticed that our scheduled department head meeting would fall on Wednesday, November the 11th, which is a holiday for courthouse employees because that is Veterans Day. So do we want to change that or do we want to cancel it?
Make a motion to cancel it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
Boy, you're faster than I can write.
That's right.
Okay, let's see. Did I have anything else? Oh, I do have, I was brought up again from the IT department regarding the cell phone request that they had here a couple months ago, at least 2 or 3 months ago. We still haven't got a plan. I need a commissioner to work with me on a plan for that because that does affect a lot of people, and we start working on a countywide plan that's going to change the way we do it. So I need somebody to volunteer to work with me on what we want to do on a plan.
I'll help you out.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Blake.
That's all I have. Oh, yes, I do have more. Roy and I discussed, yes. Okay.
About what we discussed before. Okay.
Okay. Roy and I had talked. We have instances where we have people that will have someone claim their property to them right before the tax sale happens. And normally it's a $500 fee that they will actually have the person sign their property over, and then they will transfer the property to their name, so it's in their name at the time of the tax sale. Which what that happens is then when the tax sale goes on, and if there's surplus that happens during the sale, then the new owner that just took over that property is going to be entitled to that surplus. And we've had a company that's done this to last several years, and we're trying to eliminate it somehow. Well, I put a policy in place just for my office to have my staff not transfer property unless all taxes are paid. And I don't know if there's really actually a statute that allows me to do that, because actually that's my job, is to make sure the property taxes are paid. You know, we have to, and we can't really find a statute that really allows me to not. So we are looking at maybe adopting a home rule to put in place that says that the auditor is to collect any past due delinquent property taxes prior to transferring any property. So we want your thoughts on that.
We don't know that there's not a statute.
Yeah,
we just don't know that there is one.
Yeah, we don't know that there's not, and we don't know that there is. We really can't find one, but
Do you have issues other than tax sale on this type of transaction? Or has it been just limited to...
it's usually just limited to tax sale properties. That's the only time that we've noticed that it coming in. But
how would you know?
But we just know because that's when it just comes in. Then we look at it, we notice it's on tax sale. But Roy's absolutely right. There's really not a way. They could do it back in June before we even certify a tax sale list. So it could be a property that's not even for tax sale. And there's a lot of times that it is a legitimate reason that someone has quit claiming their property. But for all means, they should pay the property tax. When we asked them to pay the property tax, they said, no, we don't want to pay the property tax.
for example, now that because of the financial situation of the past 40 years ago, sheriff's sales, there might be 2 posted on the bulletin board in the basement of the courthouse. Now there's so many sheriff's sales that an outside company is coming in and doing it. The sheriff's sale rules are that they won't sell it at sheriff's sale unless property tax is paid. What authority they have for that, I don't know. But you might recall we had this last year because we had a situation where the former owner's family member came in and said something about, well, mom signed this quitclaim deed for $50 because she thought she was selling her air conditioner. So, and they said, well, I'm sorry. The auditor's office told them, I'm sorry, you're not the property owner. You're not entitled to that any longer. And then I said, probably not the best thing to have done. If the family thinks that there was something kinky about the sale, then she should always, the former owner should always be allowed to submit a claim, and that's why they did. So that's why we did an interpleader last year. Mm-hmm. Well, nothing happened on that because they didn't step up to the plate and pursue their claim. And I didn't feel, and I don't know that you feel, that my job is to go out and right all wrongs. If it's not the county's business, and at some point in time you've got to step up. But that was a situation where I think that particular owner bought 2 properties that resulted in substantial payments of the surplus claims. Mm-hmm. And I know Beth feels strongly about that's just not right. Well, because of the interpleader, and while that interpleader was happening, it just so happened that there was an appellate court case that came down that said the statute, as far as the record owner now filing a claim, that's only one means of doing that. There's still, so the former owner is not out. They can still, on their own, initiate a suit to try to get that paid if they think there was misrepresentations. But that's got, all Beth's saying and I'm saying is that if the commissioners feel that that's important enough that you want to pass an ordinance pursuant to home rule to say, whether it's no transfers of any property if there's delinquent property taxes, or if you want to focus on the issue of, once the property has been certified for sale, then we're not going to allow it to be transferred unless the property tax is paid. That's what we're saying. Help us here.
I'm kind of leading toward, because it seems like it's happening with properties once they're advertised for tax sale, which is probably done in June or July?
July 1st, yeah.
So, and then
that's when we certify our list, but
right.
then they don't come out to be sold or advertised till we always have our tax sale usually the end of October, so
which is
September.
coming up in a week or two. So I really think if we want to get real specific, I think if it's listed on a tax sale, taxes have to be, anything delinquent needs to be restored.
I agree.
Prior to any quick claim or
All I'm
any
saying,
transfer.
I don't know that you can do it, but if the home rule is you can do anything that's specifically not denied to you by the state law, then it looks like it's at least it's a better authority for the auditor or the local officials to refuse to transfer property.
I guess the auditor's department in other counties, do you have any friends of this type of transaction?
I sent an email out last week. I've got a few responses back from other counties that a lot of them say they absolutely won't do it when there's a split involved, which makes sense. You can't split up past due delinquent taxes, so you have to have it done before it's split. A property would have to be split. There was one county that did say that they don't transfer any property without it being paid. I know the question has went around before And there was a lot of people that responded. I didn't get that many responses. I think I had 4 counties that responded, to me this time. And we're at Auditors Conference, so that's one thing we're going to bring up. And I think trying to push through for legislation too, where we can get some legislation passed that requires, property to be delinquent taxes paid before they transfer ownership.
It just seems not right that for $100,
Right.
somebody could end up with.
Well, and
Yeah.
these companies are watching it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in different courthouses and watching these people come in that are going to the
Yeah.
books to figure out what's for sale and
That
going around.
particular property, it was
There's just
$36,000.
money made on
Oh, yeah.
tax sales.
Right.
Because, if you buy a property at a tax sale and the owner wants to, redeem it, they've got to pay you 10% on the delinquent taxes bid, and any excess 8%.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you going to make that kind of money?
Right.
And
Right.
if they don't, you probably not bid fair market value.
A lot of
I
people
think you
use
should-
it just for investments, which
Oh,
that's
I know.
fine.
Right.
We don't. Our goal is to get the taxes paid.
Right.
So if but still, if they're going to buy the property, then you're going to take over the taxes. I
clean it up.
strongly feel that they should pay the taxes if they want the property.
I'm in favor of moving forward with it to
Have
pursue.
Roy to
Yes, definitely.
draft
I would draft something up, and then if you do find legislation that we're allowed to do it anyway. then
Well, if
we should
legislation,
proceed.
if the state
I mean, if the
solves
sheriff
the
can do
issue.
it.
Well,
if-
their
if-
attorney's already contacted Roy.
Okay.
Yeah, he already got contacted by the gentleman's attorney. Want me to transfer the property.
Well, wanting to know what the authority is.
Yeah.
Because it's there.
But we
Thanks
can't
to prove
find
that it isn't.
any at this
Haven't
point.
looked yet. I came to you first saying.
Yeah.
Yep. So
So you're going to do it in situation tax sales only at this point?
If that, yeah. Okay.
I think so. I mean, if the sheriff can make sure when they certify a sheriff's sale property has to have their taxes paid.
Yeah. Why can't we do it
Why
like
can't
that?
we do it
Right.
like this?
Right, well, and, the taxes would be paid anyways, it would be a priority, but as far as I know,
Right.
it's the company from the outside handling the sheriff's sale, saying, we're not going to sell it unless you've paid the property taxes before the date of sale, or you won't have a sale. Well, I don't know what their authority is for that.
Sure.
And then they don't have to.
Yeah.
I think we should initiate something. Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Audience?
Anybody? Mr. Clyburn?
Since you're going to make it public, I'm going to come up and talk to you later. I haven't been to the meetings for a while. I've got things I've been priority at home. I'm talking in reference to the flood buyout program that you guys put forward, and then, of course, the council denied that as far as that funding source. I agree with the council position, and I was just curious as to, because I didn't hear the discussion, I didn't hear your thought processes. The way I look at it is, and I feel sorry for those people. I mean, that's life, bad things happen. But as a function of government, to take it upon the taxpayers to, these are my terms, bail those people out, pay for those properties as if those properties were just totally fine and nothing wrong. I was just curious as to what your thought processes were there constitutionally, proper use of our money, taxpayers. An illustration of what I thought of was, okay, I live out in the country, and if I get hit by a tornado and my house is destroyed and I don't have enough insurance or whatever, is the county then going to take advantage of some kind of program that would say, okay, we're going to buy your property? I'm just curious. What was the thought process?
It wasn't so much. Yes, you're right. You feel sorry for the people that are in those situations, and that aside, it was more to protect the county in future efforts, because those
properties are entitled to services during the flood, the sandbagging and emergency treatment and stuff, and was to try to get that property declared as areas that would no longer be residences or livable, and to kind of clean up the floodplain area to make it an area that wouldn't need those services. So it was to protect the county from future costs down the road.
Right. Well, I was in terms of, okay, it was $150,000 of the taxpayer money. $150,000 would do a lot of sandbagging for however often that would happen, every 20 years, 30 years, I don't know.
I'll interject just a little bit, Ted. The option that we were trying to work, and we're still working with it, is that we're trying to work with the foundation. And if you know what the city of Bluffton did with the River Greenway, they tried to raise funds to basically do it. That's in essence what we're trying to accomplish too at the same time. It didn't get publicized that way, but that's what we're working on. Actually, Tammy Slater and Mike Jr. are working on that.
Okay, so
last
this
Thursday
is not
and Friday.
using seeded funds.
No,
then?
I'm not saying we won't, but we're trying to defer it. So if anybody is willing, want to make a contribution, deductible contribution, that those funds would then supplement or offset any seeded money. So that in itself is what we're trying to get accomplished also.
Well, I understand
Plus
that.
the city of Bluffton had already approved their part of it through seeded funds. So the city did it. It kind of like we should coincide and follow them, but we also try to interject that we're going to try to coordinate with the foundation for donations to reduce that. And that's the highest it could be. And I think really when it's all said and done, it'll be substantially lower than that.
Well, and there again, I'm one of these guys that I'm hung up on principle. And I understand it's the goals were there, but just the proper use of seeded. I mean, seeded gets expanded to cover so many things that what is economic development.
And see, that's the only fund we have to choose from.
I know.
We can't go from a bridge fund to a capital development fund because we don't have it.
I know.
So the seeded has to bridge the gamut from here, what's like birdshot instead of,
I understand. It's just a difference of, and I'm just letting you know my opinion, that as far as a proper constitutional way of looking at what government is responsible for and how they should go about it, I was just wanting to know how you justified it, and I hear what you're saying. And what I hear is more of a expediency type thing. Well, this will accomplish where we want to go, and the means to get there, in my opinion, was not a proper use of government money.
Okay.
So,
Not a problem.
I'll leave it there.
Thanks for your input. Yes, Chuck?
Quick question on the county's role in situations like this. A good point that Ted brought up concerning, if he has a house fire, if he has a tornado. I didn't know that the services, Tammy, that sandbagging, if I have a flood, that, is somebody going to give me sandbags?
Yeah.
Yep.
They will?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll start forgetting. No, but I understand where Ted's coming from, and and go for the private funding, because someplace along the line, I don't know, $150,000. Hopefully, it's going to be less than that. But I'm not
We're just hoping that we're even picked. We might not even get picked to get the funding.
Let me
That's
interject here just a little bit. There again, and that's where I see the real problem. Okay, it's FEMA, which is a federal bureaucracy. Those aren't elected people. They have decided that they will dangle this carrot here to get you to move in a certain direction. And that's what has happened. And you're saying, well, we need to take advantage of this, because it's, I don't know how much the balance of their 75% was, but obviously, $1 million or however much it was, And so we're looking at it in terms of, wow, we can't let this slip by. And so this is how, philosophically, the federal government is overstepping their bounds by leaps and bounds to influence local government to move in a direction that they are not constitutionally, in principle, allowed to go. That's, I'll leave it there.
Okay. Roy, anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We are done.